Welcome to Married AF. We are your hosts, Brooke and Randall Fowler. On this show, we discuss the topics that really matter.
Like big veiny cocks and our favorite TV shows.
So pull up a chair at our kitchen table and hang out.
While I bulldog my nuts.
We're going.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. We got a little squeaking from the microphone arm that is haunted, lifting ever so slowly.
Just randomly. It was fine for a while, and then now it
Can
just...
everyone hear it?
I don't know. Maybe.
Nah, I think it stopped. Okay. Well, I want to do a quick introduction on this episode. This one was a really fun one. We had Akeem. There it was. Akeem from Raw and Uncut podcast. Super cool guy, leader in his community, mentor of young men, football coach, assistant print, just all kind of cool shit. And he's a cool dude. I enjoyed the shit out of him having this conversation.
Yeah,
he was nice enough to come on and hang out for a little bit. And I look forward to talking with him again and following his podcast. I binged it, so Uncle Randy highly recommends checking it out.
Raw and Uncut podcast. Did you say that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. But doesn't hurt to say it again. Raw and Uncut podcast. Check it out.
Yep. I'll put the link to his socials that he gave at the end of the episode in our show notes too.
Yeah, and even another cool thing about this week is it is the creature feature week, and the show of the week is Untrained Eye. We've talked a lot about them lately just because they've been newer to the network, but we're really putting a focus on them. This is their week, so we're trying to get the word out as much as possible across the network for everybody to spread the good word about Beth and DJ.
Spread the gospel about Bethany and DJ.
About Christ's love and Beth and DJ.
Yeah, they're awesome. They their show is super funny, and they remind me a lot of me and you. And Bethany sounds like she might want to strike DJ sometimes, as I sound like with you, which is funny. Yeah, it's with love.
Yeah, I think it's neck and neck for who I think sounds less amused on most of the podcasts. DJ's definitely funnier than me. He's a super funny guy.
Yeah.
If you follow him on Twitter, he's funny as shit on his Twitter. That's at Untrained Eye. And follow him, check him out, and he will amuse you. He's also good with car karaoke. He's a contributor every week. It shows he's got a big, huge nutsack. He's not afraid to embarrass himself, which is something I respect and care about. Mm-hmm. But yeah, their show tackles all kind of shit. It's one of the things I love about it. You can't really put a stamp on it. It kind of covers everything. It's a good hangout show. So when you're driving, if you got a road trip or anything, I recommend binge listening to it.
Yeah, that's what Julia did when she drove. I listened to their episode today, and she talked about listening to it on her drive up to Pittsburgh.
That's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, and you'll get to know them. Then they become part of your family, just like they have ours. And next thing you know, you're listening to everything that they say.
Yep. And so the creature feature is new. That's where we are going to be featuring a podcast that's on our Civilized Creatures Network every week. And Julia posted a video on Twitter and Instagram, I believe, or just Twitter, where she drew the names of all the podcasts, in which order we were gonna feature them. So, and her cat made a cute appearance too. But so the Untrained Eye is up first, and I know I saw on one of the social medias that DJ said they're gonna release shows on Tuesdays now, mainly because like the Untrained Eye is TV. I was like, that is so clever.
Yep, that is good.
Clever
always looking
clogs,
for
DJ.
For an angle. I respect it.
Yeah,
I like that guy. And but yeah, so check them out. We've got some other great shows also on the network. We got Drinks with Larry, the Bear Cave coming up. The Podfather himself, John Buchanan, is mounting his comeback.
Yeah, when's the first episode of that coming out? Do we know?
I don't know. I think he said he wanted to have it done by this. I don't know. I think he had a target date of like August 27th is what I thought.
Word?
I saw. So he's going to be pushing up on it quick. So we got Bearded Dad, What's in Your Hometown.
Yep. Conversation X, Picks and Bones.
Welcome to my show with Michelle.
Yep.
And we do have a Garbage Kitchen episode coming up Thursday.
Mm-hmm. And Cinemondo. Yeah, that Garbage Kitchen, we got to get some vanilla ice cream.
Yep, need vanilla ice cream with condiments to make you throw up. So tune in for that. That will be on the Civilized Creatures
Great.
Facebook page live.
Oh, and 8-Bit Closed Fist. I don't think either one of us said that.
Yep. 8-Bit Closed Fist. So I think that wraps it up. I think we're going to dive into Akeem.
Sponsors?
Right? Oh, sponsors, yeah. Let it rip.
All right. So Whax is our luxury lubrication sponsor of this episode. So go to www.getwax.com. That's GETWHAX and use promo code AF20 for 20% off, motherfuckers. Go get some sweet, like thick, nice, not gonna fuck up your sheets lube. Vital Tattoo Care. It's good shit for taking care of new or old tattoos. It's all natural, made to order. www.vitaltattoocare.com. Use promo code MarriedAF10 and get 10% off your order. We got Underzips. It's the American underwear for you bros that want to also keep things from getting stolen.
Mm-hmm.
The little pocket.
Preferred underpants of Uncle Randy.
Preferred underpants. So underzips.com, promo code Randy.
Yeah, and effing gear. I want to give a shout out about that right now. When you listen to this, there's a promotion going on that we are doing in partnership with them where you can win a free effing gear hat. You can pick the one of your choice. Their hats are fucking incredible. You've seen us rocking the Real Men Wear Pink hat. You can pick any of their hats. They've got the coolest shit. All you got to do, follow the rules. Check out our Instagram page or our Twitter page or our Facebook page for the rules to the contest. All you got to do is like the post, follow effing gear and Married AF, and tag 3 friends that would enjoy a fucking sweet hat.
Mm-hmm. Do the 3 friends also have to follow both of us?
If they want to be entered as a potential winner.
Okay.
If the friends want to participate.
Gotcha. Cool.
Because we're going to draw
That's
names
similar
of those
to the
that followed
Underzips
the rule.
contest.
It's the same contest as Underzips. And we'll pull the name and announce who wins a free fucking awesome hat from Effing Gear. So we want to thank them for doing that.
Yep.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
The promo code is what?
Married AF. So you go to effinggear.com. That's EFFINGGEAR.com. Married AF is the promo code for 10% off. And then we also got BioBidet, BIOBIDET, to clean your butt.
Yep.
Married AF, 10% off.
Yep. Check them out. Get it for all your shitter needs and just cool shit for your toilets. Bidets, warmers, all kind of cool shit. LED shit. You can go all the way up to these fancy ass toilets.
The
that
entire
do everything.
toilet, yeah.
It's pretty crazy. But yeah, check them out. Use our promo code. But I do want to stress the contest for Effing Gear. I want to get more people looking at their shit just because their shit is really cool. Their shirts, their hats, their fucking beanies are cool. It's just a fucking cool ass shit.
Yeah, go to their website and check them out. And thank you to my bro-in-law that bought, what did he buy, a hat? Or no, he bought a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
He bought this like Superman looking shit. It's badass.
Mm-hmm.
So y'all go check it out.
Yeah, so we're swimming in the money. We're rolling in the dough.
All right. So now that is it.
Yep. So now you can sit back and enjoy this bro chat because Brooke was zoned out during a lot of this because I can't believe she actually hung out in some parts of it. It had to be boring for her.
It was fun.
But she hung in there
He
like
was
a
a super
champ.
nice guy. I like him.
And so we enjoyed him. So without further ado, here is Akeem with Raw and Uncut Podcast on 101 The Fan. I say we go ahead and go live. People are...
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm with it, man.
Let's go.
I'm going to go ahead and launch it. I don't know how much we'll get on here, but we're going to record it to release it. A normal episode too, but I just go live in case anybody gets the chance to interact.
Yeah, that's
with
dope.
us.
That's dope.
All right. So we're going live. I'll start recording over here.
I already did, and Reaper just so I wouldn't forget.
All right, we're live. Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's up?
Married
What's going
AF,
on?
y'all know what's up. We got a special guest tonight. We got Akeem from Raw and Uncut podcast. What's up, Akeem?
Man, what's going on, man? I really, really appreciate the invite, man. Love your work.
Oh, man.
Love how y'all get out together, man. That's dope.
I love it, man. I want to tell everybody that doesn't know the way that we were linked up. I want to give a shout out to our mutual buddy, Delvin.
Yeah.
I remember he had watched one of the Uncle Randy videos, and he was like, man, and he tagged you, and he was like, this guy reminds me, there's similarities to you.
Yeah.
And so, of course, that made me look, at your stuff, and then I listened to your show. I was like, oh, I can see where he's drawing the parallel lines, like, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's dope.
But I became a big fan of your show, man. I want to give you a chance before we start because we're going to skip a lot of shenanigans because we got so many questions I want to get to them for as many listeners.
Hang on, though.
Yes.
Did you bring a shot up here?
I did.
Okay. We got to do that business first.
Yeah, we do. We always start off with a shot. So we're
Jesus,
gonna cheers to you, sir, for joining us. We really appreciate you making time to join us here.
Oh, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Ooh, that's terrible. Ooh, that's not good at all.
What the fuck was that?
It's some bad stuff.
Oh, my God.
That's some bad stuff.
That was not cool.
Don't do shots, everybody. They never end up good. All right, so I want to give you a chance, Akeem, real quick to tell everybody about the Raw and Uncut podcast because I could talk about what I see, but give them a little tidbit on what it's all about.
Hey, so it's exactly what the title is, man. It's just Raw and Uncut, man. It's a podcast based on my random thoughts and my life, and I don't hold punches. I care about feelings, but in these days, I don't really like. I think people need the raw truth about everything, and I think we just need to express ourselves a little more in that. So my podcast is pretty much based on that. Teaching and mentoring and, telling people about my life, introducing some people that probably people have never thought about, experiencing, that type of deal. So that's why I podcast, man. I enjoy it, man. I'm in love with it now. Oh,
you should be, man. You're really good at it. And your show has a really good purpose. I love shows that really have there's something to them, you know what I'm saying? I love all the comedy and stuff too, but I really enjoy, for me personally, when I'm listening to a show that's got purpose. And yours, there's a bunch of different ones, but I want to give a shout out, and I'm sorry I can't remember his name, but you had a co-host a couple episodes back, the Selfish episode.
Oh, that's actually my blood cousin. His name is Jay Roman.
I really like him. I really enjoyed that episode.
Yeah. He's the opposite of me. We fit together well.
That's what I was going to say. Despite him being opposite of you, it all made one really good episode. You know what I mean? So it was very well done. I enjoyed him a lot. And, that episode touched on so many things that affect not only the black community, but every community, business and everything. And so I encourage everybody to check those out and check out the portfolio of Raw and Uncut podcast. Now, to get to what links us together, I think me and you both and my wife here, Brooke, is we all have an affinity toward steering our youth in a good direction. We have two boys. It's very important. I've got a 14-year-old son, and so I'm just getting into seeing how hard it is for these boys
and
nowadays.
A 5-year-old son
that's going to be following him up. So when we started seeing some of the issues that my oldest faces, and he's an athlete and all that, and with boys it's so different compared to when we were younger, because I assume me and you're probably close to the same age.
I'm 41.
Oh, I'm 40, so perfect.
We right there, man.
Yeah, and so I want to be very engaged with him. I know it can be hard, so I'm going to jump right into these questions because they jump right in.
Hang on, I want to ask first, because I might have missed it when y'all were talking earlier. Akeem, do you have kids?
Oh yeah, I have several kids. All of them at the high school for one, but personally, I got two kids, two boys.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right, I was just curious.
Mm-hmm.
And then all your football teams that you coach, yeah.
All my football team, and all my kids at the school, like all of them.
Yeah.
They know me,
And if being a coach, you're a like not necessarily a father figure, but that type of like leader in their life that probably has these kind of conversations with them too.
Yeah, I've been coaching 14 years, so
that's awesome.
I've seen grown men right now, like with kids and their own family, and they still come up and hug me. It's a great feeling when you're respected enough. They still call you coach, and at least grown men.
Oh, my coaches will always be coach.
Old, they like, coach, how you doing, man? It's good to see you, and I hug them up, hug their kids, that feeling. And then they know I'll do anything for them. I done wrote so many letters for them for college, or, giving them jobs at the school and calling people to give people jobs, and, bought clothes, money, went to college. I mean, one of my kids is in college out here in UNLV right now. He's a running back. He started running back over there. His name is Tree Hollisworth at UNLV. And he's one of my guys, he had a hard life struggle. And, I go out there and, we hook him up with food and, anything he needs. I cash app him money because I know that he has a bigger purpose, and he may not have the support, but that doesn't mean that, somebody in my position cannot help him. And, I just think that's as human beings, we need to help each other out. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome.
All right. Well, I'm going to dive right in here with the very first question, and it's a doozy. All right. My son is a 17-year-old black athlete. He lost a year of football and baseball eligibility due to a sexual assault investigation, which proved to be false.
Oh, no.
The young lady was not punished. How do I get rid of the anger in my heart to set a good example for my son? That's a tough one. That's right off the bat.
Well, the girls don't get punished for false accusations, which is a point of contention with you. I know.
That bothers me a lot.
Yeah, and
it bothers me a whole lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's
a tough one for me because it's like, you want to believe the actual victims. You don't ever want to like err on the side of like victim blaming or anything. But in the cases where you can prove definitively that someone lied and just completely fucked up somebody's life, that's not cool. They need to.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead,
I think a couple things. Just listening to the story. I mean, for one, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person. So everything happens for a reason. For me, I think everything is a learning lesson in life, where you have to understand. Sometimes, even as men, he was accused wrong, but sometimes being in the wrong position too in life can set you up for failure. So, he was probably too young to be involved. That's why I always preach to the kids. Look, you don't need to be involved with all this activity at this young age. But, growing older now, he's going to, hopefully he can get some kids and he can teach them or even mentor, go back and talk to kids in regards of his situation. And maybe he can help them with his experiences. Now, everybody can't be successful, but we can be successful in our own ways. You know what I mean? So, that's just a food for thought. I don't like how women are not punished. I think there needs to be something done. But I don't see it coming.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, for the dad, if I were to chime in and give him any advice, I know it's hard. I can only imagine as a father, it's hard for him, and the anger and the resentment he has because his son lost a year of eligibility and whatnot, and just the stress of probably the whole investigation when you're falsely accused. Gee, I mean, I can't imagine how bad that is. But he needs to not make it about him. If he sits there and he stays pissed off all the time, his son's going to be pissed off. And his son's just now starting in life, and that's not a way to start him off. He doesn't need to start off that pissed.
And it's going to set a bad example for his son, too. Like, if he can show his son that you need to be able to just forgive and move on and concentrate on what's good for you and put yourself around good people that build you up, all that stuff. That's the kind of example he needs to set instead of like harboring a grudge.
Well, and I think, go ahead, Akeem.
Yeah, and I just think, like she said, that was a good point. Harboring that negative energy can also, it can also stifle your growth. You know what I mean? You need to, you're gonna have to learn how to get back on track and be able to become a man and understand some things is just going to happen in life.
Yeah, that's life, right?
Yeah.
That can happen too. That's going to happen again. It may not be to that
That's a pretty
extreme, but
extreme.
that's going to happen in life, right?
I got a case in high school. It was a sexual harassment case that I was proven innocent.
Yeah.
I was on a football team. It's crazy, situation just hearing it, because they found out I was in class when she was claiming some things was happening. You know what I mean?
Nice.
And the teacher was like, "Oh, he's been here the whole time." But the thing is, they suspended me for 3 days and all that. And I'm like, and with further investigation. So, I hit home with me when I heard it, but I'm like,
damn,
geez,
who knew?
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I wish the young man all the success in the world, of course, and he can recover from this. And I hope it doesn't, ruin him going forward. It's a terrible thing. And in my opinion, if someone's asking me, absolutely. I think a false accuser should face the exact penalties that the accuser or that the perpetrator would have gotten had they been found guilty.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
But what, like, we also don't know the situation too. Like, what if she did get it wrong and it was like she got roofied kind of situation, and she, like, maybe he was there. I'm just devil's advocate.
Oh, sure. I mean, there's
and
always
he was
gonna
at
be
the
that.
place. You don't know all the situation.
No, we don't know the full This is a question, so of course we can't. But in the
my
general
head goes
consensus,
to that girl probably needs some help with something too. Like, either whatever happened to her, if it really happened, like finding out who did something, or helping her figure out why would she want to do that to somebody. Why would you want to?
And I think it should be like, if you're not going to prosecute them for what they did, I think it should be a mandatory 2-year class or something they got to attend, like, in order for them to also understand what they did was extremely wrong and how it affects so many people. It needs to be something.
Exactly.
no, that's a great idea.
Like
actually.
kind of like how you have to go to like DUI school.
Yeah, something like that.
Some kind of like
or anger management.
Right. It's like instead of anger management, it's like the repercussions of sexual assault allegations class, like
false allegations.
Right. And then it would probably also be a little bit of like mental health therapy. Like, let's
for sure.
talk about shit. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to this one. This one's tough also. And, without getting the whole story, but we're just going on what we hear on the question. My son has heard me say some racist comments in the past. They weren't intentional, but they were indeed racist. How do I talk to him about this? Let Akeem start off with his thoughts.
So he's heard his. No, let me get this right. So he's heard his son heard his father saying some racist things, and he wants to know how he can talk to his son in regards to this.
Yeah, it sounds like the father's had some reflection, realized he said racist shit to his son growing up, maybe some
comments,
some
that
stupid
were,
ass things that maybe now he either no longer believes or realizes they're insensitive. How can he talk to his son and still have credibility if he's done that in the past? Well,
I think he just needs to own his mistakes, and I think he needs to own them in a major way. Meaning, he has to denounce the things he said. That's one. That's a start. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. So if you come to him and talk to him in regards of, what he said without acknowledging the fact that it was wrong, then his son's going to see BS all over.
Of course.
So he needs to come and own that, and then he needs to also tell his son about how discrimination may feel to him, because I think racism is in several different ways, right? It's not just a white black thing. It could be a black white thing. It could be all races can discriminate against each other. So I think he needs to understand how that may feel, so that way he can put himself in somebody else's shoes and not use that type of language. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, and I don't want to make light of it, but it's a great first step. Whoever wrote this question to us, I don't want to say their names. I said they would all stay anonymous. But that's a good first step, right? I mean, if he's acknowledging his horrible mistakes, as bad as that is, I hope you do take Akeem's advice and own what you did and talk to your son about it. I think you still have a shot of his respect if you do that. But I agree with Akeem. If you just go and start telling him not to say racist bullshit, he's not going to buy a word of it. He's not going to listen to you if you don't own what you did.
Yep.
Right?
Oh,
I
totally
definitely agree with that.
Absolutely,
All right.
that's a perfect answer.
Here's a doozy. I wonder if, and this one caught my eye because I wonder if you've had to deal with this.
I love the
coach.
giant font that you printed out on that.
Yeah,
it's
'cause
like
I'm blind.
font 75 on that piece of paper.
All right.
She said 75. I know what you're talking about, too. That's why I'm laughing.
It's like, it's huge.
Yeah. So,
I can read it from across the room.
all right. So, hey, Uncle Randy, my son's best friend lives in a very dangerous housing project in Alabama. My son is white and his friend is black. Am I setting a bad example by not liking for my son to hang out at his buddy's house?
Yeah, so I think about that in two ways. Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I think about that in two ways. For one, you never needed to mention race in that situation.
Right.
Like I'm a parent, and I don't care. Like I do well for myself. I don't care where it's at. You have to be a parent first. This is not a look. I'm not trying to be friendship with everybody. Like you got to protect your child first and foremost. I lived in the hood, and let me tell you something. I will go through there to grab something to eat and try to help some people out if I can. But like that's not you. Your goal is to be, to remove yourself from that. You don't want that for your kids. And then what if something happens? What type of parent are you to just be, hey, invite them over every day if we need to. You know what I mean? I will pick them up. We can have kick it at sessions at the house. Parents can come over. Matter of fact, your parent can come over too. How about that? But I'm not bringing my child. I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care what race. I don't care that your cousin. You ain't going to Uncle house.
Right. That's where my head went too. It's like, who gives a shit what color, race they are? If it's a dangerous neighborhood, I don't want my baby hanging out there.
No, because there's dangerous.
Bring that child over here and get them out of there.
Yeah, there are dangerous Latino neighborhoods. Anybody that's grown up in inner city will know.
White neighborhoods.
They can be as dangerous as any. There can be dangerous damn white people neighborhoods, trailer park that you get shanked at as quick as anywhere. You got the projects that can have white, blacks, Latinos in it. Dangerous.
Every projects have all races. Man.
Yes.
Yeah, but
especially in the South.
to Akeem's point,
California definitely.
to Akeem's point, though, and Fred talked about this. Fred, my best friend, I consider him my brother. He did just like you said. He lived with me basically through high school. He stayed at my house.
He did.
And when we had to go to Mason Court or Northwood.
Is that where he lived? Was Mason Court?
Yeah. He lived in both projects growing up. His mother was on her own. She
with like
bless
four,
her. She
four
was
boys?
a champion. Yeah, she had 3 boys, 3 athletes, all of them 6'5" and taller.
Woo!
And
genetics,
giants.
Yes, his brother said that's
like
the middle
6'10",
brother. He's
isn't
like
he?
6'10". Tony was like 6'8", and Fred's like 6'4", 6'5".
Fred's the pipsqueak at 6'5".
But anyway, so we would go through there, and it was a different time. And I don't want to make light of this because we're talking about serious stuff. But there was times where we'd go rolling into Mason Court, and Fred, just to mess with me, would yell like the N-word out the window and duck down in his seat on me all the time. And he'll tell you that too. But
Akeem just laughed as hard as Fred did when he tell that story.
But what Fred would do is
that's funny right there. That was a good one though, man.
And then he gets stuck driving like, God damn it.
Well, no. And you want to talk about your asshole puckering up, and it doesn't matter, what. It's just your butthole will pucker. And then, of course, if anybody was outside, Fred would jump up and, he always made sure I never felt unsafe there. But it's just to say, I agree with you that I would remove from any situation the kids as much as possible. Because I'll just imagine that, like you said, weighing on you if something did happen.
Right.
To either one of them, though.
Either one of them.
Any of them.
That's exactly where and that's exactly why, like when I was in high school, my parents, and it wasn't necessarily because many of my friends lived in like bad neighborhoods. It was more like they just felt more comfortable having me in sight, but it was the same kind of thing. They were the kind of parent that like, everybody come over here. And like we lived in a kind of nice neighborhood and stuff, and so it was everybody was welcome to come over, no matter who they were. It didn't matter. I would have, our neighbors hated us. I would have like 15, 20 people over sometimes, just like on a random Friday. But that's, you know, I would rather that than have my kid in any kind of sketchy situation.
Now here's an interesting question, and I don't know, this may be somebody that actually listens to your show and has kind of crossed over and followed us to ask this question, because I remember you touching on this on one of your episodes. When I was a kid during the 80s, which is me and you both grew up in the 80s, clearly.
100. Yeah.
Nobody used the N-word. None of this person's friends, none of my friends. I don't remember it ever being an issue. What happened?
I think what I think was the culture, the hip hop culture. I think a lot of it has like deactivated the power of the word. So I think when you are a group of individuals that have been in pain for so long, you find a way to kind of deal with it. That's your psychological way of coping, your coping skills. And I think what happened was that word has manufactured to being something endearing in the community, you know, and I think hip hop has helped that happen. Me personally, when I'm with my peoples, man, we rock. Like that's how we get out. But I'm in a professional environment, so like I know how to switch it up. But I just don't. For me, I don't like my son. He doesn't listen to my podcast, even though he's 16, and my other one's 13. I mean, they don't listen to my podcast. But what I will say is, if they ever did, they'll be adults when they do it. You know what I mean? And they don't hear me talk like that. Even with my boys around, they don't hear any of that. And that's just me being a father. I don't caught them saying it though. You know, I done heard them, and I went in there and jammed them up. But to get jammed them up, like you ain't even past 12th grade English, Holmes. So don't be talking like you just like you could discover some new word. Now you ain't rock, you know. But
gotta earn it.
Yeah, to go back to your question, I just think a lot of it has to do with when people are in pain, they find a way to cope, and I think the way to cope was to make it more endearing. The word doesn't mean it's not as powerful now. Like even if somebody told me that, I'll never mess with them ever in my life. Meaning I'll never talk to them, and because I believe it's disrespectful. But it doesn't trigger me. It doesn't trigger anger for me. It just triggers ignorance.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
Yeah. So for me, it's whatever. I'll laugh it. I'll laugh it off. It's whatever. But we have to teach our kids that too. That's something that we shouldn't harbor. We shouldn't own that. We shouldn't have to feel that feeling when somebody's telling us that. So,
well, this brings me to something I got to ask you. This is just straight from me from listening to your episode, babe. If you haven't, the first episode actually you need to listen to of Akeem's of Raw and Uncut podcast is the one he just released on the 80s. You would love it. He's talking about all the shoes from the 80s. The British Knights, man. I was a huge BK man.
BKs.
I love BKs. I busted the shit out of them.
Yes.
K-Swiss. Yeah.
K-Swiss.
My favorite ones from the 80s were the oh my God. Were they the pumps? Were they Reeboks?
Reebok pumps.
With the basketball.
Reebok pumps, yeah.
And I would tight roll my jeans.
Hey, Akeem was hardcore in the Reebok. Akeem was a Reebok guy. He talked about it on his episode.
All the way.
Nice.
Grandma, first Reebok pair from Grandma. You know what I mean? Shout out to my grandma.
What I love the story. He told a story about LA Gears, right? And I remember I actually had one pair growing up. And he was talking about a story he heard about a guy robbed a convenience store somewhere around where he was living and was wearing the light up ass LA Gears. And so when he ran off, he was out in the streets. You could just
what are you doing, man?
Leading the way to him.
Thanks for that,
What
sir.
are you doing? There he goes right there, man. I can't even hide.
Follow those lights.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I remember them LA Gears. They were huge. They
Brilliant.
were big moon boots, baby.
Yes.
Heavy as shit.
God,
Yeah.
I love that.
They had the LA Gear jumpsuits and all that. Yeah.
I actually Googled not long ago, British Nights, to see if they still make them over in like Europe.
Really?
They've got some
in Britain.
I just keep thinking they'll come back, but I'd love
They
to
won't.
see.
They won't because they're gang affiliated now. They won't make it.
Oh, are they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So BK. So in the hood, like BK's, like if you're in a Crip neighborhood, you'll be killed for those.
Really?
So yeah. So BK mean blood killer. So a lot of the Crips. I'm sorry. A lot of the Crips wore it because it meant blood killer.
Yeah.
So the Bloods would be pretty upset with you if you had those on. Well, you know, we are old men now, so they won't trip on that. They're like, "What's up, man?" Bye. But these youngsters, we don't want to bring that back. They will have a problem.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either. That's learn something every day. And they got Bloods and Crips everywhere. It's not just West Coast. They got them everywhere.
Ignorance is everywhere.
Yes, God bless.
All right. Well, here's a good one for Akeem. He's actually had to deal with this like I have now with my oldest. Mm-hmm. Why do fathers have such a hard time talking to their sons about sex? Also, what role do you think the availability of porn is playing in the sexual education of our young men? Mm-hmm. It's a loaded question, and I'm big on this. I don't want to interrupt you. I was just going to say this is good. I think this is such a miss by fathers today. It's such a place that we just forget about, or we sweep it under the rug because it's uncomfortable. Nobody does it. And the way that I know that is these Uncle Randy videos I started doing, right?
They're dope, by the way.
All these young men started reaching out to Uncle Randy, and from their questions, I can tell their fathers have never talked to them about sex. Not a bit. They've just told them, and my dad was this way. He just threw me a condom. Was like, use a condom, son. And that was considered it.
That was your sex talk.
And that was, I guess, it got me by then, but times are so different now to where your freedom can be on the line every time you have sex as a young man now. If you mess with these phones and these videos, your life can change with one decision when it comes to sex now. And dad's got to step on me. I love mom. Mom's she's the pillar of the family. I know that. You love mom, but if you got boys, that dad has to have that sex talk. What do you think?
Oh, most definitely. But I think it's a couple things that, I think men, we don't want to admit it, but especially for boys, it's almost like, damn it, it's a badge of honor right now. My son is, hey, he's got all these women, like women, like men think like, man, he's, we think back to when we was kids. I was raised wrong. I always say I was raised with sharks and wolves. You know what I mean? Like I learned from the street about all that. You know what I mean? Like we figured it out.
Yeah.
And that's not the right way to do it. And you're so right when it comes to the communication. So my talks are so like in detail right now. Like we talk. Yeah. So like I always tell my boys, we got a thing now. So ever since our kids been born, we call it the car talk. So I'm not going in your room, sitting on your bed and talking to you. Look, as soon as you get in that car, though, I know I got your undivided attention.
Your ass is mine.
Your
ass is mine. We talking about everything. You know what I mean? I'm talking about everything. So I think, and it's uncomfortable. You're right. And the reason why it's uncomfortable is because of the stigma of talking to our kids in regards to something they shouldn't be engaging in at that young age.
Right.
Like, bro, I shouldn't have to talk to you. Like I started talking to my son at 9 years old. No lie, I was 12 when I figured things out. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm looking at the younger kids now and thinking at 12, my whole mentality was different. And a lot of it has to do with the way you were raised. So you're doing the right thing. If you're talking to your kids young, if you don't, though, they're going to find out the hard way. Let's be real.
And and the repercussions now of finding out the wrong way, like when we were younger, the repercussions were what? You might get, your dick might start burning. You got to go to the damn doctor and having a damn embarrassing shot or get some shit, and friends got to laugh at you. Your dick
or you
itches
could have gotten
something.
somebody pregnant.
Or pregnant.
Yeah, that was the last thing we was worried about.
Yeah, but now these kids can go to prison if they. If it's. If everything's not on the up and up, and if they involve these cameras and these videos, and there's, like, I had realized when I had to talk with my oldest and had the gauntlet laid down with him, that there's categories to the shit now. It used to be just sitting. Now you got to talk about your phones, your devices. You can't digital footprint. You can't do anymore. You got to talk about consent, moving from stage to stage and shit. Because unfortunately, when you have all this gray area within consent, you have opportunities to where you can have miscommunication. And the next thing you know, you're staring at an issue like that 17-year-old young man was in a bad situation. That could happen to any kid. Now, and, you know, I've got friends that are police officers that tell me, you know, if a kid send, you know, you're dating a girl, right? You say your boy's 15. He sends a dick pic to her. They break up. The dad sees the dick pic on the phone. The daughter's tore up because they broke up. He sends it to the police. The police arrest both of them. They arrest her for having child porn. They arrest him for sending explicit content. And he has to.
We see that all the time at the school.
Yeah, I mean,
so messed up.
You got to talk to them about it, or you're not giving them a chance. You know, you're setting them back before they start, because on a lot of things as a dad, that's the tough part for me, and I want to get your thought is, as dads, especially with me and Brooke, I'm more of a, you know, let them skin their knee, right? They're going to get hurt. They need to get hurt. They need to know the repercussions. But on this one, I can't even be that way because the chips are so high. You know, there's such a high.
Yeah, you can't gamble. You can't gamble the rent money. You know what I mean? that is something that we cannot have kids, and you know, all that. It's a lot that goes on, but you know, like I know he included the porn situation.
Yep.
And that I mean, the technology now. I mean, the access to whatever. I remember back in the day, and I think it's easier for boys now with the girls, because I remember back in the day, I used to call house and Pops used to pick up the phone. I used to say, you know, and then, you know, I had a deep voice since I was young. So he was like, who's this? Why you calling you know, they just text them. You know, they go around the father, and it's like, you don't even have to deal with like a man in the house no more. So now the girls is texting, the boys is texting, they're sending pictures, the cameras and all that. It's like we got a lot against it. So if you think that you don't have to talk to your kids, man, you're about to find out real quick what a mistake looks like. You know what I mean?
And so do you try as a coach and as being in education and mentoring these kids, how do you walk that line? Like if these kids come, hey coach, and you can just tell that they haven't been, you know, talked to, because that's the part with me. Like I don't want to step on any dad's toes. I love all dads. But if a kid comes to me with a question, yeah, that's what I was going to say. But when a kid comes to me with a question, I'm going to answer it. You know, I want to help him.
I think with your clout, your status, and who you are as a man, you need to know that you need to step on as many dads, you know, shoes and feet, stomp them out, man. Because I've learned that in my years of coaching. You have to understand, a lot of kids come to you because they trust you and they know that you're going to give them the best advice. And some kids won't come to you. You got to force that, right? But building a relationship with the kids, talking to them in regards of it, I had a million conversations. Like all the kids have my cell phone number. Call me at 3 a.m. You know, if you need be. You need to be picked up. All that. You know, hey, whatever I can do to help you. But you also have to put the onus on them being responsible, them making good choices, them understanding and not to put themselves in a situation. Goals. You need to have some goals in life. And I don't care. Like, people say, oh, they're too young. No, you need to have a goal. As soon as you come on this planet, 5-year-old, okay, 2-year-old, your goal should be making sure we get potty trained. Hey, we walking good. Now we're running. No, those are goals. We need to stop saying these kids don't need goals. These kids need goals from a young age, and they all need a direction. So if we're not able to give it to them, you know, we're not helping the community. It takes a community to raise kids. So, you know, we got to be on it, man. Stomp on their toes, man.
Yeah. No, I'm already telling Gunner that when he gripes about me telling him, you know, just stupid stuff, like not making himself burp all the time in public.
Yeah,
he's 5. But, and he'll get annoyed with me. And I'm like, you know what? It's my job to make sure you don't grow up to be a monster.
Or be an asshole.
And be a disgusting person or a jerk. Like, it's my job to make sure you grow up and are a contributing member to society and are a good person like your daddy.
and you touched on this earlier, and I wanted to dive in, but I wanted to save it. And you said something very poignant to me that I think is important for people to know, and I gripe about it a lot, is parents that want to be friends first with their kids. How do you feel about that? Do you see that as a problem like I do? Do you agree or we disagree on that? I just see it.
Oh, 100%, man. It's a dictatorship, right? Like, people don't understand that the old school ways was the right way. If you look at the divorce rates, if you look at, young people having sex, if you look at the whole world in general, I want you to look at those ages when families was together and doing the right thing. That was the old school way. And the statistics was extremely low. But when we start becoming their friends, all the statistics start rising because there's no balance. Like, we need to all understand that being friends with your kids is the wrong one. Now, having respect and having a relationship with your kids, you can have. But a friend, no. A friend gives you advice. I'm an adult. I'm going to tell you what to do, what I need, when I'm going to need to, and I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen to you when I feel like I need to. You know what I mean?
For
so
sure.
The friend that ruins. Let me tell you real quick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go, man. I'm loving it.
Look, at the school, right? So at the school, I deal with parents all the time. Like, I'm a chief of all behavior. I'm VP at the school. So I deal with all behavior, and it's horrible, horrendous behavior. You'll find that people that are friends with their kids have the worst problem in class, worst problem on campus, worst problem. Right, worst problem in all of the school, like, and then they go into society unknowing. But the reason why is because the balance is not there. When you see a structured household, regardless of, like, I've seen some strong moms down to raise some boys, and they did a wonderful job. So when I tell you, look, we need mom and dad. That's excellent. But if it's just one person, the father got to raise, or just a mom, I've seen some great examples for that. But what I will tell you is the number one thing they have is that they are not their friend. They are telling them what they need to do. This is what you need to do. And they're not making excuses for the kids. That is what friends do. They make excuses for your imperfections. And you need to be told, no, you're dirty. You shower. You did that wrong. That was foolish. Why are we doing that? You know what I mean? Hold them accountable, man. Friends don't hold each other accountable.
No, they might not be friends, but they would the parents that aren't friends with their kids have their kids respect.
Oh, for sure.
For the most part.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's all, like, I swear, I was telling Gunnar that tonight.
Well, you find,
boy,
we probably all heard this, I coach, you coach, Brooke has been all around athletics with me. She knows all about how that works, but
hey, I'm baseball team mom.
Uncoachable kids become uncoachable adults. They become, they can't, if you can't be coached. To me, that's one of the first traits when I look at athletes, student athletes, that can trump everything, including talent, is, are you coachable to be successful in life? Those kids, and those are the kids whose parents, whether it's mom, dad, just dad, has put parameters in place and checks and balances for accountability. And I got the biggest compliment from my oldest son's coach, his varsity football coach. He's a freshman, and he might be dressing for varsity as a freshman in football. And I went to his practice Friday. His coach came out and talked to me, and he was like, I just want you to know your son is one of the most coachable athletes. And I was like, that's all, to me, that makes me happier than anything. That's the best thing he could have said to me. Even better than talent was that he's coachable.
That's where you won. Right? You're winning some of the battle, man. It's going to be ups and downs.
Sure.
But that is the biggest honor you can get as a parent, for somebody to tell them how humble and great your kid is. Man.
Well, as a coach,
we knew that already.
I wanted to ask you, though, have you, because it hits me hard, it really hurts me in the heart with kids, especially when you know how much talent they have, the potential, and then they're just not coachable and they fizzle out of a program or an athletics team. there's just not much more that hurts more than that as a coach, right? Seeing that, and I'm sure you've seen it, and it's happened many a times, right?
Oh yeah, the best athletes never make it, right? Like, so I always tell the kids, the guys in the NFL, those are actually the B and C grade athletes, players, because the best athletes never make it.
Mm-hmm.
The best player of any sport, I don't care what it is, and it's hard. You see, if there's always an element of some type of neglect or some type of self-esteem issues or home problems, and or mental health. Like a lot of people we don't really consider that, but that is a huge part of a lot of kids' issues today is mental health, and they don't understand how. And there's a lot of blind parents that think, oh, talking to a counselor is something wrong, or getting help and resources, medication, whatever that may be to help them. I see it all the time, man, and it's really sad, but I always look at the cup half full. So I always tell them, hey, you didn't make it here, but you can still be a productive, successful citizen in any community with these tools, and just try to help them as much as you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue into this question. And this, I've got experience with this. One of my best friends in high school, so I can totally relate. Okay, my son is a highly recruited athlete. His challenge is academics. Schools keep him eligible by keeping him in special ed classes. I want to speak up. I want to give him the chance to be successful outside of sports, but I don't want him to lose playing time. What would you do? And I know, I mean, I graduated with a guy that my high school did this to, and when we all walked and got our diplomas, he got a certificate of attendance because they kept him in special ed to keep him eligible because he was an athlete like no other. I mean, just like you were saying, the best athletes don't play. Anybody that's grown up in any kind of real neighborhood in America, there's a guy that was the best at this sport, right? That quit playing in middle school. He was bigger than everybody and was better than everybody, and it didn't work. But this guy, that's my friend, that got the certificate of attendance, I don't know the numbers, but I knew then, and so did everyone else, that we're setting him off into his adult life unprepared. And unfortunately, he had a very rough after high school life. And I felt like in some ways the school system, that's a failure of being able to do that to keep kids eligible. What do you think?
Well, it happens all the time, unfortunately. So you're talking to a person, and I know I seem like a jack of all trades right now, but I'm assistant AD at my school too. So I understand how it all works, right? So of course you need to juggle the GPA. But also special ed is for kids who need special ed. There's nothing wrong with special ed.
No, not at all.
Yeah, not at all. So, but if they're doing it maliciously, they are in the way of this young man's success. They are crippling him from being held accountable or not getting the assistance that he really needs in order to, do what he needs to do like every other athlete has to. I just think it's unfair. It happens so much, man. You wouldn't even know. Like I know about so many stories in regards of kids being saved. Like even like NBA guys, like there's certain guys that said they never even went to class, in colleges. Duke, prime example. Duke, like so many guys that say I didn't even go to class. So,
I mean, anybody that knows any guys that have played in any kind of a major school knows we could do a whole show on just what that's really like for the college athletes where they get these degrees and never went to class. But, that's a whole nother thing. But with my friend, what bothered me about it was, for one, he was very capable. He could have done more had somebody pushed him academically. He wasn't challenged in any way.
Was he just like ADD or something?
No, I think he was just lazy. No one ever held him accountable to his books because he was such a good athlete. And that's not knocking him. That's where, some of that's on him, but it's also on the people in his life to steer him. But what bothers me about it is somebody in his life, whether it's the teachers, the coaches, were putting all their chips on him being we're hurting him from being a pro athlete. Those chances are so slim. The real chances are he's going to need to have a job and support himself and a family one day. That's 100,000 times more likely than him playing in the NFL, right? The percentages are just that. But you're going to take away his best chance for the 0.01% opportunity. It's asinine to me.
I think it's like 1 out of 100 or one. It's more. It was worse than that, but somewhere around there.
Yeah. All right. So we'll jump on to this one.
That's good. Right. That's a good question, man. Because man, I see that all the time.
Yeah, it's tough. I played with guys that.
Me too. Me too. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah.
It was, you know.
Even in school, I'm not gonna lie, man. I was an athlete. Man, they allowed a lot.
Oh no, and it was always the hard part for me was, you see it and these guys on the field, right? And how good of an athlete they are, and you see that you need them, and you see them, but you see them using their head in the sport that they're great at, not just their athleticism. So they've got all the abilities, but they start grooming these kids that are going to be stars so young. People start catering to them in the wrong ways, and it just bothers me. I love sports as much as anybody. I do. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I think it can change everyone's life, and I think they should play.
Sports is major.
But part of me thinks, you need to earn it too with your, with your academics to stay eligible.
I think old school ways, we got to earn everything. So when I was a kid, you even had to earn good food. We ate hot dogs. Everybody was eating steaks and all that. That's the way I grew up.
Yeah.
Like, hey, get a job. You want all that? You get a job. You'll get the crab and the lobster. Now we're giving kids lobster tails.
Well,
hey.
You also touched on this, and I wanted to get your thoughts, babe, first before me and Akeem chime in for a mom's perspective. It says, hey, guys, do you think it's okay or possible to teach my teenage son that you can be both masculine and empathetic?
Of course. I mean, that I am all about teaching empathy and kindness above all. I mean, that's literally one of the main things that I concentrate on with Gunner is that, for one, be who you are, do you, and don't worry about what other people are, what their thoughts or if people pick on you or whatever. And then on the flip side, make sure you don't ever make anybody else feel bad for their likes and interests and beliefs or anything.
Yeah, it's one of my biggest regrets, and I did an Uncle Randy video about it. I don't know if you've seen it, Akeem, where a kid wrote me, a young man, and he was saying, hey, Uncle Randy, I want to be a legend in high school. What advice can you give me? And the first thing that triggered in my head was like, you don't want to be a legend. You want to make a difference. And if I could go back again, the thing that weighs the heaviest on me from high school, and it still kills me to this day, is the kids that I stood up for. A lot of kids because that was just my nature, but a lot I didn't, that I wish I would have, that I would have befriended them, been nicer to them, included them in groups or just with me, that missed opportunities like that. Are one of my regrets. And plus the guys that wanted to be legends that I went to school with all ended up being dog shit. Most of them. That was their thing, is I'm going to be a legend, in high school. I'm going to peak in high school.
What was the question said, like teaching them how to be manly? Like that's not
something. I think what the guy is trying to get at is toxic masculinity. Being like, can I still tell my kid he can be a masculine man and be empathetic to others? And like you said, absolutely, the two can coexist, right?
Absolutely. I mean, well, 1,000,000%. And that's why I don't ever, and you don't either, which is why I love you so much. We don't ever discourage Gunner, who's 5, from playing with whatever the fuck he wants, or dressing up in a dress and a skirt and doing just whatever the hell he wants to do that makes him happy for that moment, like do it. And or wearing, you know, like he wants to wear like pink leggings one day. Like,
well, he sees me wear mine like when I play football.
Yeah,
and I love pink.
And that is, you know, the logical, like my brain at first is like I want to protect him from getting made fun of or from sending him to school in some you know, in some way that is setting him up for getting his feelings hurt. Yeah, but I also don't ever want him to lose just his creativity and individuality. Yeah, and because he's, you know, I want him to just be who he is and do whatever the fuck he wants to do. And he is inherently a dude. He's you. He's like literally your clone. And all the like manly shit just comes with like, you know, helping you change my tire and helping you do yard work stuff. But all the little like nuances of him just being sweet naturally and wanting to help somebody, like I never want him to lose any of that.
Yeah, what do you think, Akeem? They can coexist, right?
Yeah, most definitely. I've been told that I struggle with empathy, so I'll work on that. Like that's a daily struggle for me. You know, the way I was raised, too much empathy means soft. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So
Right.
Absolutely.
So because of that, you know, I teach my son like, yeah, you want to be able to, you know, be able to help others, care about other people, and you want to be yourself, but don't be simp. Don't be a soft man that can't hold his own, don't have a spine, because that's not what I want to raise, you know.
Sure.
And I think that's where the manly part comes in. For me, you know, I think that toxic masculinity is a manufactured word right now that a lot of people try to prevent real man things from happening. That you know, you gotta understand there's definitely an agenda right now. You know, men, we can't roar like lions anymore, right? We got to be, we can look like it, but we can't roar. We can't, what I mean by that is we can't really express how we really feel openly because it can really truly get us in trouble. I'm one of the opposite. I tell you how I feel and stuff like that, and I think that's the manly part of me. But I was also raised like that. I was raised to respect everyone until they give you a reason to roar at them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
And then, and of course, I think men, when it comes to a woman, like we're going to be totally different than we would with a man. So the empathy is totally different. You know what I mean? Like we are listening. They change who we are. It's a natural change, and that's what I teach my son, and that's okay. But when it comes to like men. Like, bro, have some balls, homie. You know what I mean? Make sure this is what you believe in, because I'm teaching them how to be a leader. And I think a lot of times you have too much empathy, you become a follower, and you believe what they're doing is the correct thing to do, even though it ain't nothing that you want to do. Like, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a fine line. I know exactly what you're saying with that, and that's probably I think a lot of fathers struggle with that line, because I grew up, and Brooke will tell you, you said your shortcoming is empathy. Mine is showing emotion, like sadness. I don't show any of that. I don't cry. I mean, it's not trying to sound tough. I don't know if I know how to.
He's dead inside.
I'm dead inside. People have told me. But I don't want my boys to be that way. I know that it is me. I think I'm too far past the line, you know, and I want my boys to know it is okay. Shit, if you want to cry, if a movie makes you sad, you can... You know, and you're sitting here at home, you could shed a tear. I can't. It's built into me. I'm going to not cry. People are going to be like, how are you not crying? I don't know. You know,
the psychological part of that is that they say emotion really comes from moms. So even though dad is not too emotional, the emotion actually comes from the mother. So the mothers really teach their kids how to navigate their emotions.
Your mom's full of emotion, though.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. The thing is, though, is that he may have felt as if that's something that psychologically, that's just not for me. I don't want to be a part of that. So then it built this big
wall around it.
The big wall around itself to saying, hey, I ain't doing, because I'm you. It's crazy that me and you got so much in common. I show zero emotion, and man, my lady, she hates it. Right?
Oh, of course.
But she, in my defense, she loves it when she sees weak men on television or around in public.
Absolutely.
Like, oh, he is so weak. Like,
sure.
but then, like you just said, that's okay. You know what I mean? It's funny.
No, it's
and that's where it's a fine line. It's like
it comes in handy a lot, and it can be, too much too. But
that is one thing that we tell Gunner too, is that like you need to lead by example in being nice to everybody. Don't ever like jump on a bandwagon and make fun of anybody, but don't ever let. Like, I don't ever, and we've talked about it many times before, we don't want to ever teach him to be so sympathetic and that he becomes the victim of something.
No, I can't stand victim mentality.
So,
that's my one of my pet peeves.
Well, and it's like, stand up for yourself, for sure. And it's a delicate balance of don't be an asshole. Yeah. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah,
but don't let anybody treat you like it's
no, and I don't want to hear. My biggest if my boys want to see me fired up, it's if I hear they're picking on people that are weaker than them,
that's
smaller than them, more fragile in any way, and especially in my. I mean, I won't ever apologize for this, but you don't touch a woman. Men don't touch women. To me, you don't put your hands up. You don't even make them think you might. If one beats your ass at school, if a girl starts beating your ass, you know what you do? You pick her up and you walk her to the principal's office and say, she's hitting me. You don't, you don't hit her back. And
nothing wrong with a good run too. Man. He's running away.
Yeah,
I tell my sons that, man.
Take a lap.
If we can do something, man, get up out of here, man. Get up out of here as fast as you can.
Yeah, because it's such a slope. And if I hear that one of them are picking on somebody at school, that's a big no.
Hey, but if I hear somebody's picking on my baby at school, you better hold me back.
Well, he's got free. I mean, I still subscribe to that older, that nugget that I was raised with. That if somebody, backs you into a corner, I can't be mad at my boys if they retaliate. I mean, it's happened with both of my kids. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah. I know that the school systems have what they've got to do now, and they're under more scrutiny. But
so ed code is like this. So the ed code works as it's called mutual combat. So it's not their job to decipher what happened, who hit first. All that doesn't matter. And so what happens is we're just trying to get the threat off campus. So both of you guys are going to have the same punishment. That's just how the school works. Ed code said any physical altercations, verbal altercations of threat of violence, then they need to be suspended for X amount of days.
So just don't fucking do any of it.
Well, yeah, and so you
got the thing is, if you're engaged, you committed to it. Hey, get on it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying too. Don't get
Hey, don't
get shortchanged. Yeah, don't get shortchanged and let the suspension be for a pushing match. And you gotta get your shit in. I'll always stand by that too. I mean, we had both of our boys.
The school might not differentiate who started what, but if
at my house,
if that happens and it was and he gets suspended, but if he started it, then that's his ass. But if he didn't start it and he was standing up for himself, he got suspended, but he wouldn't be punished at home.
Exactly. That's
I like mano y mano, man. I'm old school, man. Let's get it in. Let's scrap.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I heard that with your with the bully episode. It's pretty clear, that you growing up had to. I mean, I had to do it. It's funny because you met Fred quickly on Instagram today, trying to set you and Tony up.
Oh, we're gonna make that happen.
Yeah, me and Fred used to do because he lived with me all the time.
Oh my God,
like
boys are so dumb.
Any brothers, you're gonna have you're gonna get tired of each other eventually, and you're gonna have to duke it. I mean, we used to fight, and we would
it's all in love.
We would set my alarm in my bedroom for 2 minutes. We would do 2-minute rounds. You can ask him. We'd say, "All right, set the clock for 2 minutes.
Dumb.
This shit's getting out of hand." We need to get this over with.
Instead of getting out there.
And we'd get after it for 2 minutes, and then we'd go eat corn dogs or some shit, you know?
Yeah, we cool right after, man. It's just something different. We're emotionally built like that. You know, like we're warriors. You got to understand, man, we're sharks. So, you know, hey, if you can't take it, you wouldn't be my boy. You know what I mean?
And I feel bad. Like, I hate it because I've talked to people before, and I feel like they're disappointed when they hear me say this, but I feel like every boy, and maybe even girls, if it's girl and girl action, not like that, but every kid needs to know what it feels like to be punched in the face.
Girls don't work shit out like that, though, babe. That's different.
But it can be metaphorical for life. If you don't know what it feels like to be punched in the face, you just don't know, you know, and you never will.
I was always told that, you know, every man in the world, young man, older man, we need to fear something. So if you don't fear being knocked out, or you don't fear, you know, the Lord Almighty or somebody, and you're going to be out of control. You know what I mean? So I believe in duking it. I fought. I don't even remember how many times I fought in my life, but every single one I felt like I needed to do it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you what, with Fred, though, Fred was so tall and skinny, right? And I'm a beefier guy, but man, he would tear my ribs up with his long ass reach. He'd body check me to death. And we still talk about it this day. I'd be like, damn, you checked my ribs all up.
Y'all so dumb. You set an alarm and punched each other.
2 minutes. We sure did. And you know what? We're still best friends. I love that guy. I would do anything for him.
I know.
Boy, that's how we work.
I don't get it, but then I'm like, okay, yeah, but girls, we just do like psychological warfare, which is way more damaging.
Oh, it's way more brutal
and hurtful.
Let's not talk about women. Women are upset for 50 years. I remember 50 years over an argument in the kitchen.
I remember what like girls said to me like in middle school that hurt my feelings, and I'm like, fuck that bitch.
Well, let me tell you, man, and then I'll do the last question. We'll wrap up. I don't want to hold you forever, but we were at a water park. We were at a water park here in Atlanta, the big water slide place, and I was up on the top of the tallest ride, waiting in line to like show all the kids I could still do it. And I was up there with these girls. They were probably 13, 14. There was 3 of them. And one of the girls was scared. They were in front of me. So when it was their turn to go, one of the girls got up to the chute to get in to go down the slide.
Oh, it's a terrifying fucking slide. I won't go on that shit.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
That was Geronimo, wasn't
it?
But
she was chickening out a little. You know, she was scared. And her 2 female friends were so fucking mean. They were like, if you don't go, bitch, we're telling everyone at school you can never hang out with us. And I was like, damn, people think guys are mean. We'd slap each other, punch somebody in the face, or just be like, you're being a bitch, and that's it. These girls cut to the core.
Yeah, the white meat. Yeah, they go all the way down there. Yes. They open you up.
Ruthless.
It's brutal.
Just look at VH1, man. It's horrible.
But that's stuff like that's never changed. I mean, that's how it was when I was and I was that girl that was getting told, like, you wonder why I am the way I am now, babe? How I don't, like, you dare me to do anything, I'll do it. It's because of that shit.
Oh, I'm sure. That shit sticks with
It's because of that. Like, I did not have a backbone to stand up for myself when I was younger. I've gotten one now as an adult, but I would just succumb to, like, fine, I'll just do this.
Peer pressure.
Yes. Yeah. It was just, but it's ridiculous
it's
and
a
mean,
and that you are a genius because you haven't seen these questions. Let me read you this last question, and we'll let you chime in first, just because you just brought this up. All right, this is our last one. My 16-year-old son was recently caught with marijuana on his person while at a friend's house. He assured me that he's carrying the weed around to fit in because all of his friends partake. Am I a fool for believing him?
Yes, you are. Yeah, I mean, it's like a running joke in my family that when my mom found cigarettes in my bag or whatever when I was 13, and I was like, they're my friends, and she bought it, but she really didn't buy it. You know, she was like, okay.
So it's a parent that's trying to deflect having to deal with it. Is what
exactly.
You're saying.
It's exactly what it is. It's trying to be like, just trying to not know what they already know.
My kid's an angel.
Exactly.
My kid would never.
That's the worst.
But obviously they're in a state, I guess, that the weed's not legal.
Yeah.
Because Akeem lives in a state that it's legal.
But you got to be 18.
Oh, it is legal
right?
out here a whole lot.
Well, so what
Zombie.
what would you do, Akeem, with a student if they're 16?
They have to be 18 to have it in California.
Is it 18?
18.
Okay.
18, yeah.
So what would you say to this parent, Akeem? Are they a fool for believing him that he's just carrying it around like as a accessory to fit in?
Oh, yeah. Just we got to know, too, parents, it is hard for them to take accountability for pie in their face. You know, like, you know, they feel responsible. So what they try to do is deflect. And, you know, they want to believe their kids. We all want to believe our kids, man. That is something it's hard not to do. You see their face and all that, but it still takes the parent in you, the parent, not the friend, the parent to say, you know what, you're full of BS. And this is garbage. Like,
yeah, who you lying to? Who you lying to?
That's what's wrong with society, though. It's like, are you serious? Are we naive enough not to see this? This is horrible.
Oh, I see it all the time with parents, man, especially in sports and shit. I mean, because parents, what it is it's selfish parents in a one way that I wish I could slap some sense into and be like, it's not about you. They take it like it's them, that they're the one carrying the weed. Like it says they're a terrible parent or this, and it does, you know, kids are gonna fuck up.
Yeah,
I've fucked up 1,000,000 times in my life. Golly, I can't even.
Me too.
I can't even count. So it's stop putting such a damnation on the kid and address the issue of being like, you know what, you're underage. That's illegal right now. Boom. You know,
and then you're gonna get these hands for lying. You know what I mean? I'm about to put these hands. You old enough now to smoke, huh? A whole weed. You about to catch all of these hands tonight. You know what I mean?
I know.
You're getting this.
Yeah, Gunner won't be able to pull that shit.
You lied to me about weed? Oh, you're getting this.
Yeah,
I mean, and I try to, that's a huge point I think that a lot of fathers miss too, is, you know what? My dad used to tell me, and this is one thing he did excellent at, and he always honored it. A lot of parents will bullshit you and be like, if you tell me the truth, it's going to be a lot less bad. Parents don't live up, you know, my dad always owned it. If I gave the truth, it was way less than when I lied to him and stuck to it, which I did a few times, and it was way worse. You know, what I got. In comparison, I still was going to get it even when I came clean, but it was less, you know, severe when I would come clean and tell the truth, because I want my boys also to always know. And so far, they're both great at it. Give me the damn truth when I ask you a legit
I'm sure when
question.
they see you, man, you roll up with the beard, the deep voice, the chain. they might want to tell the truth.
That's what I told him. So this whole Uncle Randy thing, as it's progressed, the more like where he's like yelling at the camera, I mean, he's said it 1,000,000 times. Like, I'm not a fan of the yelling. Everybody loves it except for me. But the reason it gets to me is because that's his like dad. Like, he doesn't yell at the boys very much, but it's been like a handful of times, and that's the voice he uses.
That straighten them up.
Yeah, that's good.
I know. So I'm like, that's like your angry dad voice. So like, I don't like it.
But you gotta have it, right, Akeem?
You gotta have it.
Oh, I know. Like it's necessary, but like for when you're doing your videos and stuff, but I noticed your one today, you weren't yelling as much. So
no, it also depends on the question.
The content,
you know, when a young man asks me a question where they're really going in a direction that's going to fuck them up, I'm going to give it to them.
Like
and be pretty pissed about
getting
it.
in their ass. Yeah, I know.
You know, that's same way with, you know, I'm sure with Akeem with coaching kids and shit. Because it's not just coaching them on the sports. I'm sure, like he's talked about these kids he still has a relationship with 14 years after he coached them in football, and they call him coach still. I guarantee you the ones that are still close with, he tore their asses up multiple times.
Oh, I'm sure.
Ripped that ass up good. And
yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to jerk them up.
Yeah, and you gotta. Well, I don't yell as a coach anymore. I used to when I was, you know, younger. I had a lot of energy. But now I've learned how to manage the tone, because I don't know what the difference between you know my sons and the kids at the, you know, I'm coaching, is that I don't know what technically they hear every day, and I don't know what what life they come from. They may be talked to like that all the time. I may be their outlet, and for me to be involved with that, I don't do. But it just depends on what it is. Like there was a young man I worked with since he was in like 6th grade. He was in 12th grade. He had a baby. So I really welled into him for a good 20 minutes, you know. But I hugged him up and I let him know I'm gonna do everything I can to kind of help him out. I still talk to him. He's a good father, man. He went to the Marines.
Oh, great.
He serves. Yeah, him and his son, and his new woman. His new woman. But they're definitely a family, and he's doing his thing. But I must say, man, the yelling at home, you just got to know how to manage it. Like I don't yell a lot either, but when the lion roars,
when it counts, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's for something you done really did. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, and then you need to sometimes you got to intimidate your kids, man. Like hold on, like my son, he's getting big around here, man. Put your shirt on. We walking around here all tough, man. And he coming down here, you know, eat 3 plates of food, bench pressing 220, 225.
God.
Hold on, homie. You know what I mean? You gotta yell. You gotta hear me now.
Let me tell you, I've always been an advocate of tell Brooke. The reason I don't pull it out much with the boys is because, for one, I want it to have meaning.
Right.
You know, that's one thing. Because if you use something too much, everybody gets used to it. You know, it's no good.
Gunnar told me the other day, all you do is yell at me. I was like, no, I don't.
But you get...
Mom's got a pass.
When it comes to moms do. They get that is their nature. But I played my oldest son. I've always been able to, you know, still whoop all their asses in sports. In every sport. Up until this year, I took my oldest to the basketball court here in the neighborhood. He wanted to play one-on-one. And he's 14. He's a very good athlete. He's a big, strapping kid. I mean, I still whoop him in the 40. I still, you know, definitely outlift him. I don't play favorites. I'll go to whoop his ass, and I went to whoop his ass in basketball, and he tore my ass.
You can't. Up. I've never seen you so
tore my
dejected.
Ass up.
Randall was in the pooper for the rest of the weekend.
That's humbling.
It's humbling as shit. You're absolutely. Because it wasn't a give me either. I couldn't pretend. I didn't lie.
And Griffin wasn't like rubbing it in your face or anything.
He didn't have to. He knew he didn't have to.
I know, but he's like, God bless him. But it was just on your face.
I got a story like that. My son is the same way. But he could beat me in a race. Mm-hmm. But in basketball, I'll post him up easily. It would be over quick. But everything else though, like, you know, he'll work out, he'll get me because that's what he does, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then like speed, all that, that's what he does, man. But he knows. If you come in his house late, you act like you tough. It'll be a different side of me, man. You know what I mean? But I love being a father, man. I couldn't even imagine not having kids, you know, like whoever don't is missing out. You know what I mean?
For sure. I just, you know, my biggest, I just try to yell it from the rooftops, man. I hope that, you know, if it just reaches a few dads out there that maybe aren't engaged enough, you know, to open up their eyes, it goes by in an instant. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just my biggest thing, don't be the friend. You know what I mean? You could be down the road when they're grown men. They're going to love the fact that you weren't their friend then. You're something more special than a friend. You know, and they may not see it all now when they're younger. And that's the hard part, I think, that men worry too much about. They worry about what society is seeing, right? Like about how they're being as a father. That shit ain't going to matter either, you know, when they're 30 years old and you're 60 or 70. It's going to be how did you raise them, you know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, boys like structure, and they respect structure, and they respect someone who's, you know, we see who loves us by who is showing us the right way to do things, you know? People don't understand that. You can't keep buying them things or giving them things when they don't deserve it, you know? You just setting them up.
Yeah, but you go back, you hear all the great stories, right? Anybody that thinks back and they talk about like their grandma, right? Old granny. Nobody's like, oh, my grandma, she just gave me what everybody says that I know that's worth a piss is like my granny was meaner than hell. She tore my ass up, but she loved me. But she would whoop my ass if I got out on, you know, those are the grannies that make the impression, you know?
You're right. Shout out to my grandma, man. She's 83 this month and still ticking, boy. And she's a beast. She's about 4'11".
No.
To this day, I'm still very fearful of what she may do.
Oh yeah, yeah. My great granny lived to be 103,
Ooh,
and
what a blessing,
dude. And I was on the last end. I was the last great grandchild of hers that she spanked with a switch. That had to go pick a switch.
Oh, the switch.
She was old. She didn't change. I mean, she was still picking those things pretty late in life, up until. And I remember getting that from her and being like, "This is a whole new level of torture right here."
Yeah,
like,
man. And then they used to tell you go pick it.
Oh yeah.
And you used to come back with one not too big. She already had one ready to go.
Oh yeah. I mean, and if you got one, I made the mistake. If you get one of the long, thin ones, you think that shit's better. Those are worse because they're gonna whip you like a whelp. Like a belt.
They're going to cut you.
Your best bet is to pick a big ass tree trunk that they can't swing. You give an old lady a switch, that shit'll wrap around your legs, around your waist.
Yeah, she called me one time. I put on like 3 pair of jeans and I thought I was doing something. I'm 11, 12. I put on like 3 pair of jeans thinking I was going to work. None of that worked. She still was in the groove of whooping me. I did nothing but I threw it. I remember. So, in big wheels we used to have back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So in San Francisco projects, we far up. And so we had like a little balcony porch. And I was mad and, something happened with my sister. And I said, forget it. And I threw that thing over and that thing crashed, hit some stuff down there. And she looked at me like I lost my mind.
Because
like,
you did.
Oh, my God. And, so then she went in the back and I knew what was up. So I went in there and put them pants on real quick because my sister was like, you're gonna get whooped. So this was how bad it was. How bad it was is that she waited like 3 hours.
Oh, that's the worst. That's a mental mind fuck right
that's
there.
The worst. And then I was sitting in the room thinking like, oh, maybe she just thought I was just upset. I'm thinking all type of... She came in there and she didn't say a word. She started chasing me around. Because my whole thing is you're going to earn it. So I'm running. I was the runner. So she just trapped me in the corner. She's short. I remember them days, man.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man, the worst ass whooping I ever took growing up was over the fact that I left my bicycle outside of the fence and it got stolen. And I was like, I didn't steal and my dad was like, it doesn't matter. You might as well have stole it. Damn it. You put it outside the fence. You gave it away. Now get in here and let's get it right. And I was like, good God, I can't believe. And I mean, I'm telling you, to this day, I don't leave shit out. I make sure everything's put away because of that reason. At that age,
the best Christmas present ever was a bike. And I don't care what nobody say that. Transportation.
Oh, for damn sure. Well, all right, man. Well, we're going to wrap up. We got to roll anyway. I could talk to you forever, man.
Forever.
Dude, I appreciate you. This has been fantastic. And I really hope that we're able to set you and Tony up so I can listen and hear that.
100.
But give everybody how they can reach you and how they can find the podcast. And we'll blast it out in the show notes and promote the shit out of it, too.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm on all platforms. So, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, all the big platforms, Apple. I'm on every Wednesday. I try to release my podcast late Wednesday so people can drink some coffee with it on Thursdays. But just I'm on IG. Everything's Raw and Uncut. Email Raw and Uncut Podcast, Twitter Raw and Uncut Podcast, IG Raw and Uncut Podcast. I was lucky to get all those, but I really appreciate the invite, man. And we're podcast family now, man. We got to rock and roll sometime, man. So
absolutely,
I'll definitely have you on my platform, and I love yours, man. This is nice, man.
Yeah, let's do it, baby. Hey, well, I appreciate you, man. It's been a pleasure, and we're gonna hook up some more. I'm down to shoot the shit with you anytime, man. And keep doing what you're doing. I'm a big fan of the show, and I'm gonna get Brooke to listen to that '80s episode, and she'll probably become your biggest fan. So.
I appreciate it. I'm definitely, I appreciate you. I'll see you later.
Yeah, man. Be good, brother. See ya.
All right, brother. I'll see y'all later.